time, let the moment roll. A good cigar's more than smoke, it's medicine for the soul. Stories burn slow like the embers glow. In the leaf and life, we let the good times flow.
What's up, Cigar family? This is Joe and Trey.
And this is the Leaf and Life podcast. This is episode 4.
Yeah, man.
We're
Rocking and rolling.
Yes, sir.
It's exciting.
Having fun.
Yeah, it's actually been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So today we are going to talk about cigar etiquette.
Cigar lounge etiquette, mainly.
Cigar lounge and just etiquette in general for the most part when you really think about it. So Trey, what are you smoking today?
I am smoking the Maria Lucia by Luciana. I just picked it up on a whim, and to be honest, I thought it was a Black Label Trading Company cigar. When I looked at it and saw the band, I just thought it was cool, but it's actually pretty good. It's Connecticut broadleaf, and it's been pretty good so far. What about you?
Awesome. Today I am smoking the Herrera Esteli, the Miami. It's a great cigar. I actually bought a box of these when we were in Ybor City. We did our visit.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah, I enjoy them, and you couldn't beat the deal. I think I bought a box of these for, it was definitely under, I want to say around $75, maybe under that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
good deal.
but it's a great cigar, and for the price, you just couldn't beat it. JR Cigars, if you go to a location especially, they have some really great deals.
Yeah, we got hooked up last year in Ybor when we went for the Cigar Fest. That was a little hidden gem of the weekend.
Definitely.
And then we're trying something a little different tonight. We got some rum. It's the Kirkland Signature. It's a 20-year barrel aged, which is it's actually pretty good. With some sugar notes.
Here's
Cheers.
episode 4.
Episode 4.
It's actually really good.
Let's get a little like a banana, a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's weird, but
and I get brown sugar.
yeah, brown sugar for sure.
The brown sugar is definitely up front for sure.
Which rum, I guess it should be.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So anything new going on in your life?
Nothing crazy. I know my son is coming. We've talked about it before, and my son's was supposed to be moving to New York, but now he's coming back home, which he'll be home Friday. So we'll, be a little adjustment, but it'll be good. How about you? Anything else? Anything?
No, I think my son Ford is coming into town this weekend.
Okay.
So maybe we'll all have to get together and have a little smoke night. But other than that, just working, living life, doing our thing, man. You know how that goes.
Smoke anything good since the last episode?
I smoked a lot this weekend. Obviously, watching football, I smoked the Halftime by Karen Berger.
Yeah,
that's always an amazing cigar.
That definitely, if you see it in a shop near you or online somewhere, pick some up.
Yeah. I hope everybody's excited that college football has started up, and NFL is starting. Is it
today? Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Well, no, tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday.
Which by the time this airs, it'll be last week.
Oh boy. So again, today we are talking about cigar etiquette and the cigar lounge etiquette, but generally just etiquette in general.
Yeah.
Again, before we get started, like, subscribe,
share.
And comment. Yeah, and share and comment on our videos to let us know what you guys want to see, to let us know, hey, you guys suck or you guys are doing great. We want to keep you guys involved, but doing the like and share thing really helps us know what's hitting and what's not.
Yeah.
So we'd love for you guys to like, share, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. So going into cigar etiquette, I would say one of the big ones, number one, would be don't be obnoxious in a cigar lounge.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
That, I mean, just in life in general, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, don't dominate conversation. Don't be loud and talk over everybody.
Yeah.
Don't answer your phone in the middle of the cigar shop. I mean, if you answer it, walk outside with it, or at least to a corner somewhere away from everybody. Which, like I said, that just goes in general. Don't sit in the middle of the shop on speakerphone.
Yeah, you're there to relax. So more than likely, what's ever on that call can wait because you're there to relax, and so is everybody else. So if you answer that call and you're loud, and especially if you have it on speakerphone, that's going to annoy everybody else around you. And we're all at the lounge to relax.
Yeah.
So, if you have to take the call, if it's my wife, I might be on the phone for a minute and just be like, hey, babe, I'm at the cigar lounge. I'll call you back or whatever. Make sure nothing's wrong. But if it's going to be more than a minute or a minute and a half or something like that, stand up, walk outside. Nobody's going to take your seat because your stuff's going to be there.
Yeah.
Handle your business and then come back and sit down and enjoy your cigar. But the main thing is don't be the guy that nobody wants to be around. And that's in life. That's in general life. That's in everything you do.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's nothing worse than when two guys are trying to have a conversation and someone from across the lounge starts trying to interject in their conversation. Read the room. If it's an open conversation, which is pretty obvious when it is, at that point in time, feel free to interject. But don't be the loud, boisterous guy who's when you walk in, everybody's like, "Oh, great, it's time for me to go." And we've run into a couple of those.
I mean, you see it all the time. But yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a loud guy, but at the same time, I know when I need to be quiet, and I know I need, when I'm in a lounge, I'm respectful to others.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in my lounge, I can be as loud as I want to. We could have fun and turn music on and do whatever. But when I'm in a cigar lounge, I like to just chill. So what you think about number 2?
Number 2, we got don't vape or smoke cigarettes in the lounge, which is, I've been in lounges where I've seen both happen. And I mean, there's nothing worse than almost vaping I can deal with, but smelling a cigarette when you're trying to smoke a cigar is just terrible.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of places sell the vape stuff or they do hookahs or stuff like that. So then you gotta just live with it, I guess. But definitely no cigarettes in the cigar lounge.
And I personally have never been into a cigar lounge that sells cigarettes. And when I say cigarettes, I'm not talking about cigarillos. I'm talking about Marlboro Reds or regular everyday cigarettes. And so basically, if they don't sell it there, don't smoke it. And as far as puffing on a vape, I hate to sound like a prick, but I don't want to smell bubble gum or fruity smells while I'm over here trying to enjoy.
Definitely not. But I guess between the two, it's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah,
for me.
I agree. And that, and I will say this: if we have a friend of ours, Josh, I'll name him. He likes to smoke some infused cigars, and he likes to smoke the upsetters, which has a very strong scent.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if the cigar shop sells that, we're not knocking somebody who's smoking what they want to enjoy at the cigar shop that they paid for at the cigar shop.
Right.
Smoke whatever you want when it comes to that. We'll deal with that. Because you bought a premium cigar, you're there, you patronize the business, and at that point in time, enjoy it. And then what's your take on pipes?
Pipes is, I mean, I don't have an issue with pipes. I mean, you honestly don't see it too often in shops. But again, if the shop sells it, go for it. If not, at least ask an employee or somebody before you go in there and light up a pipe.
Yeah. So if you walk into a place and you don't see pipes for sale and you don't see pipe tobacco for sale, probably no one's going to have a problem with it because we're kind of all in that category. But ask permission first. Most places are going to tell you, yeah, that pipe tobacco is fine. But you know, if you don't see it, if it's not sold there, definitely check with the owner or the worker at the shop, and yeah, go from there. So number 3 is a big one, because I bought a guy to a cigar lounge that actually did this. He's part of our club, and I assumed I had never met him in person, and I assumed he knew cigar etiquette, but he apparently did not. So if he watches this, I'm calling you out. But I'm not going to call him by name. But
I'm not gonna lie, I did it once when I first started, but as soon as I did it, I realized what I did and was like, oh my god, I can't believe I just did that.
yeah. So that brings us to number 3, and number 3 is,
If you're using a communal cutter, don't lick your cigar first, or put it in your mouth at all.
Yes. And for whatever reason, some people feel like they've got to lick the top, lick the cap, then cut. If you're going to do something like that, keep your own cutter on you.
Yeah. Or most shops have a $3 to $5 cutter you can buy. You got to lick it before you cut it.
Yeah.
Use your own cutter.
Exactly. And that is, you know, we're talking about communal use cigar cutters. But if you're also going to do that, don't ask a guy next to you, hey, can I borrow your cutter?
Right.
That's not, you know, that's just, nobody wants another man's spit on the tip of their cigar, which is what you're going to get when you cut your cigar after the guy licked everything. And so back to my story, I brought this guy in to one of our local lounges, and I think you were there, and it was just a chill night. He showed up. I invited him there, and you know, so when he got there, you know, I shook his hand, introduced him to everybody there. Okay, so everybody knew he was with me. And then he goes, picks out a cigar from the humidor. And the first thing he does is he looks at it, he pulls it out, and he goes, and like deep throats the cigar, right? And I could see it shine. I could see like all the way down to here, I could see it shiny from where he licked it that much. And then he goes over to the little 4-cutter cigar, pops that thing in there, and hits it down. And I looked at the manager of the shop, and he looked at me with his eyes like, oh my gosh. I looked at him, and I was just like, I'm sorry. You know, so we sat down, and I asked the guy, I said, man, I said, you do realize you kind of broke a cigar etiquette rule in a lounge, right? And he's like, what do you mean? And I told him, and he was like, oh, that's, you know, I do that all the time. And I was like, well, you shouldn't do it at a lounge, just because now your spit is on that cutter that everybody else is going to use.
Yeah.
Of course, the manager cleaned it off, but it's just causing more work for the manager. He shouldn't have to do that after every single use. But so that, to me, that's a big one. And again, I've had somebody do it and ask me to use my cutter, and I told them no, because I don't want to spit on me, on my cutter that I'm going to use to cut my cigars. To me, that should just be common sense, though.
Yeah, it should be.
I mean, you know, I don't know.
Like I said, the time I did it, like as soon as I did it, I realized exactly what I did, and was like, I was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I just not even thinking about it. And then there's been times where I've gone to a shop, like not planning to go, so I didn't have my cutter stuff on me, and used the communal cutter and didn't get the best cutter and didn't realize it, you know, or, you know, maybe used the V and it didn't go deep enough. Mm-hmm. And then I'm, you know, through the first third of the cigar and it's got a bad draw. Normally, if I'm at home, I'd just put a straight cut on it and go on. But I'm like, well, now I can't put this thing in the cutter again. I'm like, now I'm just stuck with a bad draw.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it's always best to bring your cutter.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this, at the same shop that we went to, or that this happened at, there was another guy that worked there. And he was, I would maybe say he's borderline germaphobe. I don't know. But when you got your cigar, he would ask you what kind of cut you want. And he would keep the wrapper on it. And he'd stick it in whatever. And then, I mean, not the wrapper. He'd keep the cellophane on it. And then pop it down in there and cut it through the cellophane and everything. I personally didn't like that. So I just, I told him I had my own. Once I realized what he was doing, I told him I had my own cutter and I would take care of it myself. Not that there was anything wrong with that, but I just, at that point in time when I saw what he was doing, I was just like, I'll cut my own. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
But so that's a big one. I would say probably in all cigar shops across America, that's probably a huge pet peeve of theirs.
I'm sure.
If I had to guess. All right, you want to bring up number 4?
I will, but real quick, since you just said that about somebody cutting your cigar for you, it made me think of something. If you are at, especially if it's a new shop and you don't know the people, and they ask you if you want to cut, go with a V, because this is years ago. We were at a cigar shop. Me and Joe went to this place, and it was on the other side of town. First time we've ever been. Little young girl behind the bar, and she's like, "You want to cut?" I'm like, "Yeah, just give me a straight cut." And she cut off probably about 1/4 inch of my cigar, and I just was like, astonished, looked at it. Then Joe comes up behind me and says, "I'll take a V." And I was like, "Son, why didn't I think of that?"
Yeah. When she cut the final third off the cigar, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to go with a V cut on that. You can't really mess that one up, that is funny though. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was, I think about that every once in a while.
That's awesome.
But number 4, don't make the employee be the bad guy. Just, follow the rules of the shop.
So most lounges, every lounge has a set of rules. Okay. Some of them actually post rules on the wall somewhere. And then some of them don't, but most of them will tell you that they do charge a cut fee, whether it be $5, $10. I've not seen any around here over $10, but
I think that's the highest I've ever seen.
Yeah. But the biggest thing to get away with I'm a firm believer, and I've told you guys this, that if I ever open up a cigar lounge, if you're a regular and you have a box, or, you're paying for a monthly subscription to your own cigar humidor at the shop, I've got no problem with you bringing in cigars and swapping out cigars and stuff like that. But I almost think that I would say no outside cigars, just so we don't have to worry about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
A lot of shops have that rule. I don't know how enforced it is, or at least if you want to smoke your cigar, because, say you like yours at a certain humidity that the shop doesn't keep it at. So you like your cigars at 62, they keep theirs at 68. That's one thing. So at least buy something to go home and store for later, and then smoke your cigar here. I don't think any shop would have a problem with that. It's just like you can't go to a bar and bring a cooler of beer and sit at the bar and talk to your buddies and drink beer out of your cooler.
Yeah.
Same principle. I know cigar shops are a little different than a bar, but it's, if you look at it like that, it's the same thing.
Yeah. My philosophy is you never want to have to make the worker, the employee, or the owner, whoever it may be, you never want to have to make them ask you to pay a cut fee. All right. I think I said it and you probably heard when we did our cigar tour, our cigar crawl, almost every shop owner or shop employee said, buy cigars. Because that's what keeps them in business. If you want the lounge to be able to go, if you want to be able to go to a lounge locally, you have to buy cigars in order to keep them in business. Whether you buy a ton of cigars online or not, and I'm not knocking that. We all buy cigars online, but I still go to my local shops and patronize my local shops because I want them to be successful and I want them to be in business and I want a place to go. Even though I have my own cigar lounge here, I want to be able to go out and meet other people and have a place to hang out if I want to go there.
Yeah, and they'll have events and stuff where you can get things you don't normally see and, special deals and all kinds of stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Yep. And plain and simple, it keeps them in business. And again, what we've talked about prior in Cigars 101 was the way you learn about cigars a lot of times is by going to the lounge and asking questions and being in the environment. So we need lounges, we need brick and mortars to be able to do that. So patronize the lounge. Don't just go the seats cost money. Don't just go and take up spots. Basically, you know, just as Spike Lee used to say, do the right thing.
Right.
You know. So, anyways, um, this is a good one. Number 5 is a good one.
Yeah. Don't manhandle cigars. You're not, before you buy them. If you buy it, do whatever the hell you want to it. But beforehand, don't, put them all up on your nose. One thing to give something a little sniff from, a little bit of distance, but don't, run a cigar across your nose before you buy it, especially if it doesn't have cellophane on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest with you, when I'm in a cigar shop, when I'm in a humidor, a lot of times I will just, because I spend a lot of time in a humidor. I can spend, even if it's a cigar lounge that I frequent on a regular basis, I could spend 20 minutes in the humidor because there might be something that I haven't seen, might be something new. Most of the time when I go in, I'll just ask if there's anything new because they know that I know their stock.
Mm-hmm.
But even though they say no, nothing new or whatever, I just like to browse. It's, to me, a cigar lounge humidor is kind of like a home away from home. It brings me joy. I just like looking. So a lot of times I'll actually put my hands behind my back, especially if I'm in a new lounge that I've never been to, and I'll just kind of like look around because I put my hands behind my back and kind of cross them just because I don't want them to think I'm stealing them because I'm in the lounge for so long. I don't want them to think I'm stealing something. And lounges that I frequent, they know I'm not going to steal anything, but a new lounge, they're like, why is this guy in here for so long? But I'm not saying I've never looked at a cigar, picked it up, and, gave it a quick little sniff, but usually from a couple inches away. I've never put a cigar up to my nose and just raked it across my nose because there's no real reason for me to do that, I don't think.
No.
And don't squeeze the cigars. That's somebody else's. If you're not going to buy that cigar, that's somebody else's cigar that you're squeezing and being obnoxious with. And every cigar that you see, you don't have to pick up.
Right.
You could just browse the selection, check it out, and enjoy it like I do. You don't have to pick up every cigar. If it's something I haven't seen before, I may pick it up and look at the wrapper. Look at the band. Kind of look at the wrapper a little bit and see if it's something that, sometimes I am attracted to very toothy wrappers. So sometimes if I see a toothy wrapper that maybe most people look at it and they're like, ooh, that's ugly. And a guy like me, I'm like, wow, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has character to it. So, but again, Trey said it, don't manhandle the cigars. They are there for our enjoyment, but not everybody wants to smoke a cigar that's been touched 10,000 times either.
Right. Now, if you are planning to buy one, there's nothing wrong with picking it up and giving a little inspection before you buy it.
Of course.
It could have a crack in it, any number of things. But yeah, like you said, don't be squeezing them. And it's one thing, especially if you're in a new shop that you don't know how they keep their humidity, to give it a little pinch just to kind of see if it feels real spongy or feels super dry, whatever. But not, like you said, don't just sit there and squeeze the hell out of it or do it to every cigar you look at.
Yeah. And I'm going to let you go over number 6.
Number 6, and this is, if you guys are overseas watching, this doesn't really apply to you, but in the United States, it's not legal to sell Cuban cigars, so don't go in shops and ask for it. And I don't know how many times I've seen it happen or been, like I was telling Joe when we were talking about before we started filming, I was walking out of a cigar shop a few weeks ago, and some guy in the parking lot pulls up, and he's like, "Was that a cigar shop?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's a cigar." He's like, "They have good stuff in there?" I'm like, "Yeah, they got pretty good stuff." "They got Cubans?" "Nah, they don't got Cubans." And then he just takes off. I'm like, well, you probably just don't know what you're talking about anyways. But that's obviously U.S. based, and just don't do it.
Yeah.
If somebody has some Cubans and they offer you something that's different, but that's few and far between, especially with the price of Cubans right now. If I had any, I'm not giving them away.
Yeah. And I have been in cigar shops where you're just talking, and I have had, guys offer me, "Hey man, take this, out of his own personal stash or whatever."
Don't go in looking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So this is one of the biggest ones when we were on number 7, when we were on our cigar crawl. Just about every single shop, every single lounge we visited, the employee said, "I wish they'd find the ashtray."
Yeah.
So number 7 is use the ashtray. So it's just, when I go to a cigar lounge, I kind of consider it an extension of home. Or when I go anywhere, I mean, it's just common sense. I don't throw trash on the ground at my house. I'm not going to throw trash on the ground. I'm not going to ash on the, we have a rule here. When you ash, I have a dust buster. We go and we clean it up real quick.
Yeah,
right?
simple.
Well, one, we don't want to sit all over ash and we don't want it all over us. But, if we ash on the floor by an accident, if it's a big ash, we'll clean it up real quick and, go on from there. But I see so many times where people will be smoking and then they'll hang their cigar over and the ash will fall off and they just look at it. Granted, there is somebody there that's getting paid and works there. They don't get paid to be a personal cleanup crew for each person in there.
At least offer. We say, hey, man, I just ashed on accident. You got a broom. I'm sure 9 times out of 10, the employees will be like, I got it. Don't worry about it. But, you never know. They might be busy and be like, hey, it's right there. Clean up after yourself.
Exactly.
But at least, like you said, at least make the effort to clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
And it happens, everybody. If you go back a couple episodes, it happened to me right here.
Yeah, it did. It did. That's right. I mean, we're going to ash. It's, sometimes we want to go for the long ash contest, even though there may not be one going on, but we want to impress everybody at the lounge, or maybe even just impress yourself.
Beating a personal record.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, and then, you get to that point where it's perfect, and
So it's not.
all of a sudden you go to take one more puff of it and boom, falls right on your shirt.
Yeah.
So, and then the other one, and this is a big pet peeve of mine, just because, I don't know, maybe I'm becoming an ornery old man, but don't use the ashtray as your personal trash can.
Right.
You'd be surprised how many times I walk into a lounge, and if they're busy, the ashtrays may not get cleaned after somebody else, stands up and leaves. So you may sit down. There may be some, stuff in the ashtray. There's nothing worse than looking over and there's cellophane in the ashtray. All that can catch on fire. If I lay my cigar down and it touches someone's cellophane, it can catch on, it can melt it, catch on fire. And if it starts melting, it's going to make my cigar taste different. I don't want that.
Oh, yeah, it just smells nasty.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to smell burning plastic.
Exactly. That and I saw a guy one time. He literally walked up. I was sitting there. He walked up into the chair next to me, and it was kind of like, just like this, an ashtray in between the 2 chairs. And before he sat down, he literally emptied his pockets, and he put a tissue in there. He put some pocket lint in there. I don't even know what else was in there, but I think there was even a mint that he just kind of tossed in there. I'm like, hey, save the mint for later, if nothing else, right?
Right.
But so don't use it as a trash can. Every shop has a trash can. You may have to ask for it, but just remember what goes in there. A, it's clogging up the spot where we're smoking, but B, it can catch on fire. A lot of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just named 3 things: cellophane, pocket lint, and tissue.
Yeah.
All that can catch on fire. I don't know about the mint, but I'm sure if the fire got big enough. But you want to go ahead with number 8?
Number 8, I mean, that kind of ties back into number 1, is just be polite and don't be judgmental. And that's just another rule for general life as well. If somebody's smoking an acid or whatever, some kind of flavored cigar, and just because you don't like it doesn't mean they're wrong. Let them smoke what they want to smoke. You smoke what you want to smoke. and you can still have a conversation with the person. They might be your best friend.
Yeah, exactly. And they could be a new smoker, and a lot of new smokers start with flavored cigars.
Yeah.
Um, you know, so it's one of those things where the biggest way to turn somebody off from smoking cigars is by being judgmental. We were another story, and then we can move on. But so this last summer, my wife and my son and we went to Ybor City, and we were in a lounge, and this kid walks in, and he's literally smoking the cigar like this. He was holding it like this, and he's going, and he's not even puffing, and then he'd go, and he'd take like 3 what he thought were puffs, and then you go, and nothing's blowing out. And he was a real nervous looking guy. And every part of my being wanted to go over to him and be like, hey man, you mind if I help you out?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I didn't want to be the judgmental jerk who had no business going over there. You know, the good part of me wanted him to enjoy. He obviously had never smoked a cigar before, or if he did, his friends didn't teach him right. But every part of my being, at first I was judgmental, kind of like, look at this guy. But after that, every part of my being wanted to go over to him and just help him so he could enjoy the cigar and really get the most out of the cigar.
Right.
You know? And and at that place, they cut and light it for you. And, you know,
they're kind of high price there too.
They are,
so
yeah.
I'm sure he spent at least $15 on something.
Yeah. And you know, my thing is if I'm the owner or the guy lighting the cigar for him, and I saw him, you know, doing that, I would be like, hey, have you ever smoked a cigar before? And just ask him some questions and kind of help him out a little bit. But you know, and I don't know what the right thing is. Should I have gone and helped that guy, or should I have not? You know, or I obviously didn't, you know, but because I didn't feel it was my place to. But at the same time, part of me feels like I should have, because he may never smoke another cigar again. You know?
It's a tough call. That's like, I'd be worried about if you do go say something, then he's going to think you're being a jerk and flip out or something. But yeah. I don't know. Obviously, you guys comment and tell us what you think.
Yeah. You guys comment and tell us what you think. Obviously, if it was a buddy of mine, I'd help him out.
Oh, for sure. But yeah,
you know?
A stranger, it's a gray area.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it's hard, but it is what it is. My initial response to seeing him was being judgmental, and I should not have done that. But then I did really want to help the guy out. So, but on to number 9. I'm sorry. When you go to a cigar lounge, treat it like an extension of your home. Be comfortable. As you can see, you know, we wear t-shirts. We're comfortable. If we're going out to a cigar lounge, a lot of times we'll either wear club t-shirts or we'll wear Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
Because they're buttoned down and they're a little bit looser. You know, so, you know, you don't have to feel all stuffy and all that kind of good stuff. But, you know, the thing I will tell you not to do is don't be so relaxed. So you'd be surprised how often I see somebody kick up their feet and put it on the table. It's not your house. At my house, I don't put my feet on any table. I have, you know, I wouldn't let my kids do it. I wouldn't let my friends do it, you know. So it's one of those things where, you know, just again, think before you do things. You want to do number 10?
Number 10, when you're ready to leave, if, you know, whether you got an inch left or you're down to the nub of the cigar, don't smash it out in the ashtray. Just set it down and leave it alone. Let it go. When you try to squash it out, sometimes it can make it burn longer and just makes it, you know, can make it stink a little worse. And
cigars are naturally made to go out on their own. So I don't know if you guys noticed at the beginning of this video, I'm sitting here talking, and we had been talking for a couple of minutes before we started. And, you know, I lit my cigar before we started, and me just holding it, letting it sit here, it went out. You know, so cigars are meant to go out after a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's why they sell lighters.
yeah, exactly. But when you're done, just set it right there, say bye to your friends, walk out, and enjoy the rest of your day. But anything else you want to add? Anything we didn't talk about that?
I can't really think of anything else etiquette wise.
Do you have any pet peeves?
Pet peeves. I mean, nothing
When it
really
comes
that
to
we
cigars?
hadn't mentioned. Like I mean, you know, my biggest thing is just don't be like, you know, was the number one. Don't be obnoxious. Don't be an asshole. But that's, like I said, that's just for life. Like, don't lace it. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Don't be the guy that you don't want to see when you go somewhere.
Yep. And that's, I mean, to me, that's probably my biggest one too, because one more story. So we were we were at a lounge, and they have a back porch, and we were sitting there chilling out, relaxing. There's probably about 10 of us on the porch smoking, enjoying conversation. And this guy pulls up, and he gets out, and as soon as he gets out, you hear people go, "Oh man." And I kind of look over, and I knew who the guy was, and I could pretty much deal with anybody. You know, I'm easygoing when it comes to that kind of stuff. And anyways, he comes over, and immediately, he's not even smoking a cigar yet. He immediately just takes over the conversation and just steers it wherever he wants it to go. And he was like, he was acting like he was in a hurry because he had to go talk to one of the owners of the cigar shop or something like that. So he was like, "Hey guys," after talking for about 5 minutes, he was like, "Hey guys, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go talk to the shop owner, and I'm gonna grab a cigar, and I'll come out and hang out with you guys." So he walks in, and literally, there were three of us. There were three in my group. Before he made it all the way in the door, the rest of the people were like, "Hey man, we're heading out. We can't deal with this guy." And I was like, "Oh wow." I was like, "It's that bad," you know? So my wife looks at me, and we were all on the final third of our cigar, everybody in my group. And my wife looks at me. She's like, "If everybody else is leaving, I don't want to be the one held captive. So maybe we should leave." So we got up, and as we get up, you know, we had to walk in through the lounge to get to our car because we were parked out front. And, you know, he sees us leaving. He's, "Oh, you guys are leaving?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, we're heading out. You know, we got stuff to do, this, that, and the other." And he's like, "Oh, I was just about ready to come out there." And, you know, but it's one of those things where I was like, "Dude, you just ran off 10 customers out of this lounge."
Yeah.
And
That's
I mean,
crazy.
granted, we were almost done. So we were finishing up. We probably weren't going to smoke another cigar or anything like that. But one guy could run off 10 customers. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
And
Funny.
that's the guy that, you know, you want to maybe even offer to buy him a gift card to another cigar lounge. Oh, but you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy. But there's
Yeah.
guys like that, and they don't know it, you know, and it makes it hard. And every lounge has one, at least
And it's
one.
like, how do you even tell somebody that they're like that? Because it's
Yeah.
not like they're going to be able to change their personality.
Exactly. Yeah, you just got to avoid them,
Yeah.
you know. But don't be that guy.
Right.
Nobody wants to be that guy, and nobody wants to be around that guy. So,
Might be the title of the episode. Don't be that guy.
yeah, there you go. Any cigar news
I
or
got
anything?
a little bit here. Let me
Okay.
move these notes.
Trey is our
got
cigar news anchor. I'm just kidding.
A bunch of new release stuff. So I mean, there's been a ton of stuff I've been seeing, but some of the stuff that really like excited me the most, and most of this I think will be out probably by the time this is actually aired. But Lure. If you guys are not having the Lure stuff, they make some really good cigars. They got a special one coming out. It's called the Redfish. Uses a Corojo Oscuro wrapper. It's going to be MSRP is like $15 a cigar, but they're only doing 2,500 10-count bundles. 601 has the Warhead 11, and the one re-up is out now. I actually smoked the 11 last weekend, and it was really good.
Was it?
Yeah, and they're a cool band, cool packaging, all that good stuff. The OZ family cigars, which is they're like in collaboration with Crown Heads, I believe. They're having their first set, the cigar game, is because they're based out of Tennessee. So Tennessee, Alabama, football always there's the winners smoke cigars. I mean, I'm sure you've seen if you guys watch college football, follow it all, and smoke cigars, I'm sure you've noticed it. So they're doing one special edition for the game, not going to the players, but something you could buy. It's their Connecticut, but it's a special size of it, and it's got a secondary like a paper wrapper on it that's got the Tennessee orange and white checkerboard, which I'm not a huge fan of that, but you know, they make good cigars. Damon will like it if he's watching.
Yeah.
Then Hoot and Young, which we just learned about a couple weeks ago, they've got a new one coming out called the Jack Car Edition. It's a Dominican Puro with a Corojo wrap. It's going to be like a $20 cigar, but I mean, I didn't smoke the one there, but you said the ones you guys all like the ones.
Yeah, I had two of them, and
Yeah.
they were both great cigars. Highly
And then
recommend.
speaking of Corojo wrapper, Tatuaje seems to be having a moment with Corojo right now because they've got the T110 and the Cojete and an Avion 13 all are just released with a Corojo wrapper. The T10 is a 4 3/8 by 52 short Robusto. The Cojete is also a short Robusto, but it's a 4 by 50. Those are like $12 and $10 respectively, all limited edition. The Avion is a 6 7/8 by 52 double perfecto. And then in June, they released the 7th, which is their Corona Gorda size in a Corojo. And last year, they did the Kahunu 2012. They released it in the Corojo and the San Andreas wrapper. So just their Corojo stuff's, like I said, they're having a moment with it. And then, like I was telling Joe earlier, last night I jumped on Instagram and saw that Tatuaje they had a live, and Pete was on there, and he dropped a few little nuggets, some about the SNS stuff, which I don't know, if you guys are not familiar, they have a club. It's called the Saints and Sinners. I actually joined this year as the first year, so I'm like really excited to get the package. They said it should be shipping. They said he should be shipping right around Columbus Day, which I think is in October. I don't know.
Is that the one that's invite only?
Yeah, it's invite only. Then you got to pay for it. But then he dropped a few little hints about the packages, which I won't get into that. But then he was also smoking, which he said was really good, was a P Series Honduras, because they're tied in with the Garcias from my father's, and they've got the farm in Honduras now. So Tatuaje is obviously going to start coming out with some stuff from Honduras. So that sounds pretty interesting. And he said he's playing with some blends with some Peruvian tobacco also. So, and then he was also, I didn't look too much into it. I've seen a few articles about it. California's trying to do some crazy stuff with cigars and taxes and allowances and stuff right now, and he was pretty upset about it and went on about it a little bit. Like he said, California tries to come up with these rules, but they don't know how to implement it or how to really support it or enforce it. Which he was saying, and he's been asking questions and hasn't gotten the answers. So I don't know. Hopefully you guys out there in Cali don't get screwed out of cigars.
Sorry to you guys in California.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So Pete, if you're watching, just move the headquarters to South Carolina. We're cool over here.
There you go. Yes. Yes. We will love it in South
Yeah.
Carolina. Also, you had mentioned before we started, the herf that they're doing.
Oh yeah, I think it might be a Saint. You might have to be a member of Saints and Sinners. I'm not sure to be able to get in. But he did say you could buy guest tickets, which they are having a mega herf in. It's going to be in Charleston on December 6th, which we were talking about. We already planned to be in Ybor that weekend. But it's, you know, something to look into if you're going to be, you could be in the area that time of year.
Awesome. Well, again, I think we're going to close it out.
Yeah, I think that's it.
But again, just a reminder, like, subscribe, share, and please give us some comments.
Yeah.
Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want us to, what you want to see, what you want us to do more videos on. You know, we're probably, next video will probably be either a tour of a local shop or
like a review. Like, we'll both smoke the same
cigar,
thing and talk about the cigar and just, you know, talk about whatever. Also, if you have any questions, want to send, you know, ask us anything, talk about something you don't necessarily want to comment on YouTube, you can email us. It's leafandlifepodcast@gmail.com. We started that a few weeks ago, but I mean, haven't really made it public yet. But if there is anything you want to talk about, not necessarily be in a public setting, you can email us and we'll get back to you.
But other than that, I think we're wrapped up.
I think so.
I hope all of you guys have a wonderful evening, great weekend coming up, and light them up.
Also, don't forget, nobody did it last time. Smoke one with us while you're watching. Let us know what you're smoking in the comments.
Yeah.
Forgot about it at the beginning, but, you know.
We will shout you out.
Yeah.
So, but yes, hope you guys have a great night.